And a pleasant good evening to you and yours, and welcome to the Brevard Sports Network and Mouthing Off Sports Talk. We are back for another week. Yes, can you believe it? We actually feel like we did well enough to come back for a week two. We've got a lot on tap for you tonight. We've, of course, the NCAA tournament. It's not as good as you think it is, folks. It's a good tournament, but it ain't great, and we'll tell you why coming up in just a couple of minutes. Also, we'll talk about NFL free agency. What are some of the deals that are good? What are some of the deals that are bad? We'll talk about the World Baseball Classic and the Edwin Diaz injury, the Trey Turner Grand Slam, and is the World Baseball Classic good for the sport, good for the fans, good at all, or should they just wipe it from the world, from the planet? But before we get going, obviously we want to thank our great sponsors here tonight. And, of course, Russ and Christy down at Archaic Designs, 321-956-2066. Please visit them online at archaicdesign.com, 321-956-2066. I also want to thank BlackRock Engineering and Technology. And to remind you, also Zone 6 as well. Occasionally you'll see me wearing the Zone 6 white, I don't even know what those things are called, but pretty cool piece of garment that I put on. But anyway, Coach Lovicher Jones and Zone 6. And on the screen there, you'll see coming up is going to be trench battles. And the information is there. That's for you linemen out there, you big boys. You're always whining and crying that there's nothing out there for you like 7-on-7. Well, there you go. Trench battles right there and Zone 6. So let me bring in here tonight my co-host, if you will. On the top of the screen is the man, the myth, the living legend right here in Brevard County. And it's funny because after he made his appearance last week, so many people said, was that Matt Lawson? I do believe that's what his name is.
Including my mom? How many people?
No, your mom hadn't texted me yet. Give that another week or two. But help me welcome in Matt Lawson. Matt, how are you, my friend? Are you enjoying March Madness?
I am. I have to agree with you. It's been a little dull. I mean,
yeah.
You guys probably saw one of the best games. I mean, that was great that you got to see that upset. But, yeah, there's been some big upsets. But, we talked about it earlier. I don't really like when all the blue bloods are out. I mean, I like some upsets, but I don't like to see the Kansas, the Kentuckys, all of them go. Duke.
It's funny.
It takes a lot out of it, I think.
Got a great stat coming up for you about that in a minute. And in the bowels, as we like to say, of Brevard Sports Network, where we store. He's downstairs in the basement. I hope he can hear us down there. Please help me welcome back again my man, Caleb Brown. Caleb, you got to experience your first NCAA tournament, although somebody sent me a text and said, why didn't you get Caleb a credential? Why don't you tell that story instead of making me look like the bad guy in this one?
Hey, let me be fair. I defended you. I did defend you when someone asked me about it. So, for those who don't know, during the daytime, I work as a janitor for a local elementary school. Well, I thought I was going to have to work when the time that the credentials needed to be requested by. I thought I was going to have to work. Well, magically, my awesome coworker pulled some strings, and I was able to get Thursday off. So, that's why I didn't have a credential. But Alan still came through and made it such an amazing experience, and buddy, I can never thank you enough for doing what you did.
Well, no problem. And we have for you tonight, if you're interested, hold up your programs, everybody. In the media room, these were given out in the media room. These are the actual game programs from March Madness. Now, what you can't see is up here in the upper right-hand corner, the cost of these. These are $20 each.
Was that less than or more than a beer there?
Well, I don't know because you're not allowed to drink when you have a credential, so I don't even approach the beer line. But
I heard through some seats next to me that you were going about $11 for an 8-ounce.
I have 4 of these. If you would like one, message Brevard Sports Network. We'll make arrangements to get you one. It's a great souvenir to have if you're a collector. So I've got 4 extras if anybody wants one. All right, let's get to this tournament. And obviously, the tournament excitement to me was really in the first 2 days. Obviously, we were a part of a game, Furman taking out Virginia. But, Matt, you brought up an interesting point about the Blue Bloods in this tournament. Kentucky's lost to Kansas State. With Kentucky's loss to Kansas State, this is the second NCAA tournament since expansion in 1985 without Kentucky, Duke, or North Carolina in the Sweet 16. And although I can't stand either of those 3 schools.
You love to hate them, right?
I love to hate them. I'd love to hate them all the way to the Final Four.
Right.
So you're right.
It sells, right? Those names sell. I mean, you want the big guys in there, and when the Final Four comes around, like you said earlier, you want the upsets in the first couple rounds, but you still want those big guys to survive.
We've only had one buzzer beater, right?
Right, and you saw it.
And I saw it, and that really wasn't even a buzzer beater because Virginia still had a shot to drop one in. And I got to tell you, and this is obviously going to come up later on in the show with our Angels and Idiots of the week, because I think Caleb has something to say about the Virginia basketball coach and a fifth-year senior making whatever type of a pass that was he was making. I just don't understand how you could even – I don't see high schoolers doing that.
Nope.
That type of a pass. Pugies, it was standing – I don't even know who caught the ball at half court, but Pugies was standing there wide open for the three-point shot. And even Pugies said in his post-game press conference, I couldn't believe it.
Everybody kind of stood there. Everyone looked like they stood there kind of shocked for a half second, like they didn't even know what just happened.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm sure he's probably not going to want to go to class tomorrow. That's not something you want hanging over your head for sure.
We also have this thing going on, and I want to thank Jason Landy for that. Jason came on and gave his picks. His champion is gone, by the way, if I remember correctly, because I think he picked Kansas.
I think Kansas.
Yeah, because he kept going with the Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
They chalked, all right.
They chalked, all right. They chalked right out of the damn tournament, didn't they?
Choke chalk.
Right? So I think I counted in our bracket challenge contest, the Landy group. Are we all right on the sound? Let me just. Everything is good. Okay. Yep. Sponsored by the Landy Group with Remax Aerospace Realty. Let's take a look at the standings right now as we head into tonight's games. Whoever medal 1 is on top. We have, let's see here, 200 and, I don't know how medal 1 can be on top there, 250.
I don't think it updates right away. I think the points or something.
Where is the total? Oh, here it is, total. Okay, so there it is. I'm looking at the wrong column. That's my fault. Blame me for that, and I'm sure Caleb won't have a problem doing that. 410 points for medal 1. Katrina Rose is in second place with 400. ESPN fan 218-537-556-610. I don't know.
That's me.
That's you, right? Yeah, 300 and I'll know who all these people are if they win because they're going to be knocking on my door wanting a check.
I want my $25.
So I'll know who to make this check out to, right? That's for sure. C. Beecham 7 is in there at 390. Jake Hitt is in there at 380. Seymour Football 15 is also in there at 380. Click 19 at 380. And the only Brevard Sports Network individual that I know of that's got a shot at this point is Jackson Robb, who will return next week. Jackson was out in Colorado this week for spring break, got back today. It's a lot to ask somebody to step off an airplane and onto the set of, but Jackson will return to BSN Tuesday night with lacrosse, and we'll talk about that. But there you have it. And if you go down the list, everybody still has pretty much their national champs alive. There's some Kansases, there's a Purdue, some idiot there named BSN Allen Z took Purdue. There's a Duke, Purdue, Duke on the second page going down. There's a lot of national champs going off of this page. God bless you, Cold Dude 36, for picking Maryland. Even as a guy from Maryland, I wouldn't do that.
That wasn't one of your aliases, was it?
No, it wasn't.
So speaking of idiots, so I did the bracket, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, I didn't register it right or something, so mine's not on there. So we'll just leave it.
See, you could have just picked one of these names and said, yeah, Alan, I put it in a bracket, right?
Dang it.
You didn't, I mean, you know.
So I want to assess before I announce what my points are, so we'll wait another week.
Okay.
And then if I'm really bad, then we just won't talk about it. But if I'm actually in the mix somehow, then I'll try to wiggle my way. Not for the money, but I still have some teams left. Texas, UCLA. I did have Duke. They're down. And I hate Duke. I don't know why I picked them.
Well, it's interesting. Let's talk about this tournament a little bit. And if anybody's got any comments to throw, because to me it's fascinating to look at this tournament and see how these teams are winning. And Matt, you made the point pre-show that Princeton is winning via fundamental basketball.
Absolutely.
You take a team, for example, FDU, Fairleigh Dickinson University, right?
Wow.
What a call, by the way, that broadcaster made, right?
Yep.
It was what was it? FD.
You believe it.
FDU believe it.
Wow.
FDU believe it, right?
That'll make the rounds.
FDU believe it when they beat Purdue. Of course, that's only the second time a 16 has ever beaten a 1. My beloved UMBC, University of Maryland, Baltimore County, beat Virginia.
Yep.
You will always have that, Alan. You can take that to the grave.
I will take that to the grave. I will. My niece went to school there, actually. She was in school there when this happened. So, yeah, it was really quite remarkable. But fundamental basketball. FDU is the smallest basketball team in the tournament. They average 6'1". How do you lose? How does this happen?
We were making fun of them last week for even being in the tournament.
They shouldn't have been there. They only got there because the school ahead of them was they're going into NCAA some kind of a status where they weren't eligible to play. So they took Fairleigh Dickinson. And you lose to this?
Yes.
Come on, Purdue.
Have you seen their home gym? I promise you, there are some gyms here in Brevard County that look just about as good as that gym does.
Are you kidding me with this?
I've always been a Big Ten basher, even since I lived in Minneapolis. That's all I heard about, the Big Ten. And, boy, they've been crumbling like a house of cards. I mean, everybody was Purdue. Man, they went down in a hurry.
It's, not only that, but then what about Arizona losing, okay, and how they got beat? It's incredible to me that these programs can enter this tournament. Why do you think that is? Why do you think we see this? It's one way or the other. There doesn't seem to be an in-between a lot anymore. We're either seeing blowouts or we get this 15-2, 13-4, and now for the second time since 2018, a 16-1. It hadn't happened in the 80-year history of the tournament, and now it's happened twice since 2018. Why?
What do you think, Caleb? We've kind of been cutting you off a little bit. We'll give you some time.
I think some of it has to do with the one in. I think you're starting to see the one and dones taking effect, and here's what I mean. Some of these bigger programs will get these one and done schools, and a lot of these smaller schools, their team's been playing together 2-3 years, maybe not even making the tournament. But you have those teams that have been playing together 3-4 years,
Princeton.
and now they get their
Tennessee.
opportunity. Now they get that opportunity, and they're going to let it shine, and they're letting nothing stop them. And again, fundamental basketball.
Great point. Yesterday we saw Duke and Tennessee play. Duke was everybody's darling going. In fact, I asked the players a question on Thursday. You know what? You guys really felt like underdogs coming in this week. It's the Duke Blue Devils. You never feel like an underdog, Did that help? Did it carry a chip on your shoulder? He didn't really answer the question. But,
He did the Duke way. Just don't answer
he
it.
gave me the snide Duke answer, the 30-second brush off. But, which made me cheer harder for Tennessee yesterday. Anyway, that's beside the point. I didn't take it personal, right? But, look, Tennessee yesterday, they started 4 seniors. Duke started 4 freshmen. That's a great point, Caleb. That's an outstanding point. And the other thing you see in these games, when you talk about fundamental basketball, take, for example, rebounding, free throw shooting. What about Arkansas yesterday coming down the stretch? Arkansas couldn't miss a free throw yesterday. I don't remember the young man's name, but he had stepped to the line. He was 9 for 10.
Just nailing them.
Dude. Yeah. And Kansas is fouling him.
Right. And
right? The last guy, he's 90%. Why don't we foul him?
Was Bill Self still recovering from his hospital?
Yeah, he didn't come in. And then I can't remember which 15 seed it was or which team it was anyway. But I think it was Arizona suffered. No, it was the Darlings. Princeton yesterday in the second round. Princeton handed Missouri the biggest defeat ever by a 15 seed, 78-63. Missouri was never in this basketball game.
No.
Never in it.
I think, to kind of extend his point, I think the money and the greed and all that now and the NIL and all that, I think these players, and I coached, and I didn't coach college basketball, obviously, but you can sit there. I mean, I coached some good football teams. You can sit there and tell these kids, when they're a favorite, you can tell them until you're blue in the face, hey, watch out for this team. And these guys overlook teams. I don't care if it's the NCAA tournament or not. You're telling me that a team doesn't overlook Princeton a little bit. I mean, come on. These kids are more worried about the NBA, a lot of them, and they're, like you said, the one and dones. I don't think that they really care as much as you think as a team. I don't think there's that concept of team, right? Especially with all the transfer portal and everything, it's gotten crazy.
Well, and I'll say this: I'm not sure it's that the kids don't care. It's one of those, like, again, because of transfer portal, and they feel like they're a bunch of all-stars, so they see a team like Princeton and they're like, oh, we should roll them, and they're already thinking about that Elite Eight or Final Four because they're like, okay, we should be in there.
Yeah, who's our next opponent? Right. Yeah, they're already looking past them.
And
especially if they watch the game before, like if they're the late game and they're literally watching the game before, going, all right, we're going to play these guys.
Right.
It happens all the time.
And then they get punched in the mouth, and then they're like, wait a minute, what? They're good?
Yeah, you got to make shots, right? You still have to make shots and, like Alan said, rebound.
And coaching matters.
Absolutely.
Tom Izzo.
Yep.
Now Michigan State becomes a darling, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The 7 seed. They take out Shaka Smart and Marquette, right?
Yep.
Izzo has now won 16 games in the NCAA tournament as the lower seed. He passes Jimmy Boeheim for the most since seeding began in 1979. So let's give a good congratulations to Tom Izzo, because he's less of an ass than Jim Boeheim is. So, I've never been a big Boeheim fan.
Everybody's less than ass than
Jim Boeheim, right?
Maybe Calipari is up there, but I tell you what, we were talking about last week. I think it was 24 or 25 straight years he's been to the tournament. Not one blip. I don't care. And you know what he does? He coaches the players he has. If you notice, they change their style, whatever they have to do. But again, he plays defense and rebounds. Yeah, I mean, I like him. I still like you said, Shaka Smart. I like Texas. It's funny because I was like the anti-Alabama guy because everyone was hot on him. And you know what? I watched him, and they passed the ball for an athletic team that you'd think would just be a bunch of run and gun. No, they they pass the ball around. Speaking of fundamentals.
Yeah, and it's just and speaking of Alabama, and watching them roll my Terps last night, it got me thinking, as you look at the brackets, right, and you look around and you go, because I was really torn up about wanting to give the SEC love.
Right. Yeah,
because I look at the SEC and I don't see basketball like most people. I see football, right?
Yep.
But it's hard to argue through the first 2 days of the tournament. Here you go, gentlemen. Here are your conference records through the first 2 days. The ACC, The Big Bad ACC 4-3. The American 2-1. The Big 12 6-3. The Big East 4-1. I didn't even know there still was a Big East. The Big 10 5-6.
Yep, there you go.
5-6.
Yep.
Okay. The Mountain West 2-3. The Pac-12 3-3. The West Coast 2-0. The SEC, where we had to watch religiously at the Amway Center the commercial that just says it just means more. 9-4.
All right, that's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all. So 9-4 in the tournament, they lead the way. So I don't know. Obviously for us, Caleb, I would think Furman beating, the Palladium. I didn't even know what a Palladium was. Matter of fact, in this book, it'll tell you what a Palladium is. It explains it to you. But that was probably our moment. Did you have a particular moment of the tournament?
That one without a doubt. Just the way it went down, like you said, with the pass and everything.
Yeah.
I like that one. I like you said, I haven't been overly thrilled or excited about the games. I mean, they're just not close.
They haven't been close. You're right.
I've been watching this forever, right? I remember days where it'd be just like buzzer beater after and tight games. And like that's when they started moving games around because they were all close.
When, like Caleb said, when teams play 3 and 4 years, you definitely you get one extreme or the other right now.
Right.
There's
Yes.
not a whole lot in between.
Well, and here's the thing: if you're the NCAA, you can't really do anything about it. Well, I mean, what can you do? Are you really going to walk back and go start making everyone play 3 or 4, 3-4 years before going to the pros again?
There used to be, and when you would play, when you would take a team like, I don't know, take my Maryland Terrapins for example, right? You go back to the 70s where you would have to guard Albert King, Buck Williams. The list went on and on.
That Juan Dixon team was senior loaded. Though,
okay, so Juan Dixon, Steve Blake, guys like that. You would have to. Now it just feels like and look, FDU. Zach Edey still got his points for Purdue. Yeah. He had 21 points and 15 rebounds. Yeah. He still dominated.
No one else.
No one
even stood up.
No one stepped up to help him.
Looking at the big guy going, you're going to win it for us, and it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. It didn't happen.
When you have a big star like that, sometimes it's bad because everyone else is like, just give them the ball. They don't even want to take that shot.
And yesterday, it was, yesterday in Tennessee's game, and I want to make sure I get this right. Yesterday in Tennessee's game, Euros Plavsic, right, had foul trouble. Picked up his third foul with 9 minutes to go in the first half.
Wow, that's trouble.
Well, yeah. What Oliver Nakamura did in the final 8 minutes of this game, and I mean, again, Nakamura, a senior, Vescovi, a senior, Jordan James, a senior, Euros Plavsic, a senior. Then you go down here to Duke, Derek Lively, a freshman, Tyrese Proctor, a freshman, Mark Mitchell, a freshman, Kyle Filipowski, a freshman. I get it that Mike Krzyzewski, loved the one and done, came to love the one and done.
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually is the key word there. But now, how many of these guys are going to declare for the NBA draft, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
lot.
now John Shire has got his hands full. And look, Rick Barnes, an older coach, guy's won 700 NCAA games as a head basketball coach. It was interesting to watch yesterday. I thought the other thing that stood out to me was when you look at this Tennessee team, and don't discount the Volunteers. Their starting lineup consists of players from Finland, California, Uruguay, South Carolina, and Serbia.
Wow.
How about that?
The other point,
as if the transfer portal isn't enough.
Right.
The other point that kind of extending on what Caleb said, remember, there's a big difference between an 18-year-old body and a 22-year-old body. I don't care what you say.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Physically.
Tennessee looked like grown men out there.
Yes, they did.
Most of these freshmen, even if they're tall, they're usually underweight or they're skinny. I mean, basketball players don't hit the weights. I mean, they do more now. There's certainly freak athletes out there, but overall, if you're sitting there and you're seeing an 18-year-old against a 22-year-old grown man, there's a lot going on there.
Oliver Nakamura, he looked like a man amongst boys. You could literally, there were points of that Tennessee-Duke game I was watching yesterday. I was paying close attention. It literally looked like to me that I could see Duke and see 4 high school seniors on the floor.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
So,
I think it's kind of death by the sword, too. You can get all these top-notch recruits, but like you said, going in, you're going to have them 1 year. If they're that good, right, they're gone. I mean, if they're already a millionaire with NIL as a freshman, what is their incentive to stick around and go to class?
Not good.
None. Absolutely.
They don't even go to class in the spring. Don't kid yourselves.
Once again, I want to thank Archaic Design Incorporated. Russ and Christy, thank you so much. They are one of the title sponsors of Mouthin All Sports Talk here on Brevard Sports Network. And, of course, BlackRock Engineering and Technology, Loverture Jones. If you're looking for the best in cybersecurity, then BlackRock Engineering and Technology. And if you're looking for the best in home improvement and kitchens and
I think flooring is a big
flooring,
thing.
right?
A lot of people are switching out their floors, and they've got an extensive list on price points and everything. And Christy really knows the products, and I think it's a great opportunity if you're looking to beautify your home a little bit. They're experts, like you said. Russ is a general contractor; he does the work. This isn't some sub that's get picked up off the street. It's important.
Absolutely. I'm going to be talking to him this week about the importance. Some laws have changed here in Florida, and it's important to have the general contractor license, a real one, not just flashing a piece of paper saying, I can approve to do this.
He gave you an eye-opening education on that, didn't he?
Really did give me an eye-opening education. I sat with Russ for we were probably out there for 45 minutes talking about this, and I'm telling you, it opened my eyes in an industry that can be, if you're not careful, filled with scam.
Yep, and I worked in the industry. I know.
So coming up is going to be our angel and idiot of the week in the world of sports. NFL free agency will come up next. And once again, you linemen out there, trench battles coming up for Zone 6. The information is there on the screen. I'm starting to lose my voice already. Information is there on the screen. And want to give a big shout out to, I want to talk a little bit of local sports here because last week was a very quiet week because it was spring break. So obviously, we went and did the Vieira boys baseball game last week up at Jackie Robinson Stadium up in Daytona Beach where the Tortugas play. But I want to give a shout out to the 3 former satellite cheerleaders on your screen there. Lizzie Holland, Rebecca, I think I'm saying this correctly. Let me make sure I get it right. Rebecca Parise and Leanne Duran, all former satellite grads now doing very well collegiately cheering. Leanne at Navy, Rebecca at Florida State, and Lizzie at UCF. This past week, we also had some student athletes come into the studio. We had the Quirogas come in. You'll see the Quirogas interview tomorrow. The wrestling brothers from Merritt Island. We had Skylar Wagoner from Vieira come in and got me an autograph. Gentlemen,
JU, baby.
Got me an autograph. Jacksonville
Go Dolphins.
University. So you'll see that interview on Tuesday night. Hope you all enjoyed the interview with Damon Amendolara. It was a lot of fun talking to Damon. We didn't really talk about sports. We just talked about the industry, and I thought that was kind of fun to break that down. But we're back to broadcasting this week, and we have got quite the lacrosse matchup coming up Tuesday here on Brevard Sports Network. Caleb, why don't you tell us about it? Why I try to get this frog out of my throat.
We got the boys, Holy Trinity Tigers and the Vieira Hawks.
Nice.
I'm not even going to say arguably the 2 best teams in the county.
They proved it, right?
Yep.
I still saying Holy Trinity 1, Vieira 2.
Right, but I'll say this.
we'll find out.
We're going to find out.
Speaking with Coach Dunn off camera, he has said, actually he said it in his last post game interview. The Hawks are out to prove that there can be another team. It's not just Holy Trinity and everybody else. And you know what? They're going to have their opportunity to prove it, and I'm so glad I'm going to be there live to see that one.
You and Jackson will have the call for that. I'll have Vieira baseball. I think they play satellite this week, so I believe I'll be there for that. Remember, we have a 15-game deal with Vieira baseball this year. And coming up Thursday, we're going to be live streaming the Cocoa Tigers banquet. I believe they're getting their state championship rings at this banquet. I think they are.
I believe they are because remember it was originally one date and then it got postponed.
They got to push back
because they wanted to be able
to
promote.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that'll be coming up this week on Brevard Sports Network. So you're going to see a lot, of great stuff coming up this week here on the local mothership.
I think I'm going to make a little lacrosse commitment. I'm going to come check that out on Tuesday night.
Well, text me and let me know how it goes because I love baseball. I love Vieira baseball. I love stuff, but I'm jealous I can't be this one. Extremely jealous.
Lacrosse is a very underrated game. It really is.
Jackson's going to be on the call for that. And really, Jackson, Caleb, and Bo Bartlett should be the ones on the call for that because I can't talk lacrosse like those three can. I'm going to be right where I should be talking baseball.
Right. And you're very good, my friend.
Well, thank you. Yes. But I still want to see the damn game.
so what he's saying,
right?
he's going to make sure his live is going good, and then he's going to secretly have the Vieira lacrosse game off to the side, kind of where he's peeking over
right,
at it.
Exactly. And again, if you guys want one of these NCAA programs, which went for $20 each.
You better save one for Jason Landy, maybe.
Yeah, I got one for Jason. Message me, and I'll be happy to meet up with you, drop one off. To you. Go ahead.
But before we jump away again from the NCAA tournament real quick, just a quick little score update. Currently at halftime, Creighton is beating Baylor 39-29.
Great.
St. Mary's are trailing UConn with 1:47 left to go in the game.
So
70-53.
Go ahead, Creighton, go on and win and just totally light all of my brackets on fire.
And that's an interesting, not to get too deep into this, but McDermott basically was cast away at Iowa State, and he stumbles down to Creighton, and he's built a really good program.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
Remember, he had his son, obviously, which helped, but, he's done a good job. He's been consistent. I wasn't a big fan when he was at Iowa State, but, man, he's really put a program together pretty silently.
No, that's a good point. You're
and
right.
I have Baylor, Alan. So I'm not happy. But
we're going to get to NFL free agency now as we get to talk about two of my favorite quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson. But I'm wearing the old
first time
it was the first time I ever wore this tonight.
Looks good.
Yeah, you like this? This was a present from the Brown family, Caleb, Nicole, and Cosette. For my birthday.
Was that your number back in the day? Or
no, I'm going to explain. Give me a sec. I promise I'll get it in. But the thing that's as cool as this, see that?
Yes, I do.
Alan Z on the back of the jersey. Now, I've never had a personalized jersey before. This is the first one I've ever owned. This is a real authentic Nike NFL jersey.
That's nice.
Oh, it feels good, bro. Let me tell you.
It looks good.
And the number represents the only quarterback in the history of Baltimore football that is truly the greatest ever. And no, it's not number 8, for Lamar Jackson. It's number 19 for the guy that sits right here on my desk, Johnny Unitas.
That's your boy.
So I thought that this was just a thing of beauty to get me a Ravens jersey with my name on the back with Johnny Unitas' number. It's me. It is 100% me. So it's the first time I've ever worn it. So I wanted to thank Nicole. I wanted to thank Caleb. And I wanted to thank Cosette here on air because I love this thing. And I was looking for the right time to wear it. Tonight's the right time because we're really going to take a deeper dive into Lamar Jackson because free agency is all about Lamar and Aaron Rodgers right now.
Yep. Two biggies.
And if you don't think it is, then you're kidding yourself. Okay.
You're living under a rock, and
it's a quarterback league in the NFL. No
but
doubt.
With that said, gentlemen, there was some deals that happened this week as soon as free agency opened. And how about the Cocoa Tigers football program? In the course of 2 days, mind you, two former Cocoa Tigers signed 2 deals totaling $132 million, okay, and guaranteed $86 million. The first to do it was, and this, we talked about this last week, this particular deal here, and about how we really felt like I felt like anyway, that this needed to be a priority in the offseason for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but obviously they couldn't come to the table with the type of money that Jawan Taylor was requesting here. Jawan Taylor signs a new 4-year deal with the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. The deal's worth $80 million, 60 of it's guaranteed. Last season, Jawan Taylor allowed just 5 sacks, and he had the 3rd lowest pressure rate in the league. With that said, he's going to move from right tackle to left tackle.
He is, okay.
He's now going to, and obviously last year was Jawan Taylor's best year, right? And then we promised when we started doing this show that we would be truthful and be honest. And I really felt like last year that the first 4 years of Jawan's career were good. He had some up and down moments. But I felt last year was the year he really put it all together. I just felt like it was obviously in a contract year by far his best year. I don't know that making the move to left tackle to protect Patrick Mahomes' blind side here. I don't. And I'm throwing it out there for you guys. I'm curious as to what your take is on this. Because Orlando Brown was rated as the 5th best lineman in the league. Jawan Taylor was rated as 68th. I'm just throwing it out there. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, you're protecting the most popular guy in the NFL, but him and Jackson and Rodgers. But I mean, that's a lot of pressure. But the one thing I guess I would rather block as a former lineman, coach, whatever. I would rather block for Pat Mahomes and Tom Brady. At least he can run around, he move around. Now, sometimes that can be difficult. That can make it worse for you, right, when you don't know where he's at. But that's a big step up for him. But you know what? I think before we dive into that too much, he's a great guy. I mean, he does so much locally.
He
here.
does.
Yeah.
And you damn well know that he's going to give back more than ever now.
Yes.
You know that's going to happen.
Oh, yeah, big time.
But I'm talking sports here.
Right.
But
Jawan knows I love him, how I feel about him. I will always support his camps. But my question is he the guy to protect Patrick Mahomes' blind side? That's my question.
That's tough. Quickness, I think he might struggle. You're talking about blocking, again, the blind side. We know the move, we know everything. That's the position, left tackle, right?
Right.
So, I mean, is he going to be quick enough, right? And the pressure, right? I mean, there's a lot of difference between playing Jacksonville and there's playing for the defending Super Bowl champs, protecting the golden boy, right? I mean, everybody's going to be on.
2-time NFL MVP, 2-time Super Bowl MVP. Guy never stays put in the pocket. Caleb, is he the guy to protect his blind side?
he's going to have to be because, well,
Exactly.
we saw Orlando Brown left the Chiefs for a smaller deal than Jawan Taylor got.
Did he now?
He did. His total is like 63.
No.
fact
that
check.
can't be.
Fact check.
Yeah, fact check. That could be fake news from Caleb.
Oh, wow.
Come on.
He fake newsed you. You looking that up?
Let's see here. The Bengals got a huge steal. Well, maybe he did. Orlando Brown, who believed the Bengals signed him to a 4-year deal worth $64 million. The contract is front-loaded, $31 million sign. So he gets most of his money up front. Oh, okay. Pro Football Focus projected Brown's contract would be for 5 years with an average salary of $21 million a year, totaling $105 million, with $70 million of that fully guaranteed. Yeah, the Bengals. You're right, Caleb. My apologies, buddy.
And so that I guess that was my big emphasis point if he was willing to leave for that, the Chiefs had to get somebody. And you know what? Yes, is it going to be tough as a former lineman? Yes, it's going to be tough transferring to that blind side, but you got to make it work now because.
Interesting, too, that Orlando Brown goes to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Right.
The team that has beaten the Chiefs and then couldn't beat them last year. That's an interesting scenario there to me. To answer my own question, yes, I think Jawan Taylor is the guy to protect. And here's why I believe that. Because Jawan, big guy, obviously, you got to be to play tackle in the NFL.
Yep.
I'd like to see him stay on the right side myself, personally. If I had my druthers, I'd love to see him stay on the right side. But I think Jawan is athletic enough. I think he's fast enough. I love Jawan's footwork. And I think that more so than pocket protection, typical pocket protection, which you have to do for a guy like a Trevor Lawrence who's a pocket passer.
Yep.
Okay? But I think Jawan's athleticism plays more to what the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes like to do. So I think as opposed to holding a block for 2.5 to 3 seconds, the chip, the move, the slide, the kick, all of that stuff comes into play. And Jawan is very adept at all of those things.
Yes.
My point exactly, much better explanation.
He'll be playing in a similar type offense when he was playing for the Florida Gators. So I feel that line scheme will work in his favor, even transferring off to left tackle.
Who doesn't want to play with Pat Mahomes? I would.
I would.
Right? He's a winner.
But to me, and here's the thing, and I'm sure Jawan weighed all of this. Did I cut you off? Were you going to say something?
No.
I'm sure Jawan weighed all of this. Jawan was there through the dog crap time
the
with
Urban
Jacksonville.
Meyer era.
Right.
Yeah.
Jawan is, the beauty of Jawan Taylor is he doesn't miss a game. He's played in all 68 NFL games that he could possibly, and he started them all from day one as a rookie. Excuse me. So, to me, there's got to be a little bit of sadness that goes with coming out of Jacksonville because if it's a team to me that's going to dethrone Kansas City, it ain't the Bengals. I think it's Jacksonville. That's just my opinion.
And the way they structured the deal, Kansas City did, is going to help them because they need to replace someone at wide receiver, losing Juju Smith-Schuster.
I don't think that's a big loss. I don't. And especially seeing that the Patriots signed him, I don't think losing Juju Smith-Schuster is a big loss. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, Schuster was a reliable set of hands,
right?
And I'm not saying you can't find that in the draft, but having someone like him, where a defense actually kind of had to look at him a little bit, rather than some rookie you pick up or a lower level free agent, you're going to need some money to get a decent receiver.
Next up on the old Coco Tiger signing multi-million-dollar deal train, I know this makes Caleb very, very, very happy, is Jamel Dean, who certainly took, I think, a discount.
Yes.
I know he took a discount, a big discount. Jamel Dean turned down as much as $14 million a year to stay in Tampa Bay. This, according to The Athletic. Dean signs a deal for 4 years and $52 million with $26 million of it guaranteed. I like the move for the Bucs to keep Dean, and Caleb, I'll let you take that since you're the Bucs fan.
Well, for me, it solidifies. The Bucs are losing a lot of that defense, especially on the back end. We're gonna lose Sean Murphy-Bunting. So getting Jamel Dean, getting a solid corner who was great for us, and has really developed well into that defense. Him and Levante David.
That was good. That was good too. Levante David.
Now Levante's a 1-year thing. That's kind of like
it's all right.
Hey, and what I think that's going to be a last hurrah for Levante. You know what? I'll give you guys one more season, and then I think Levante's going to go try to get paid somewhere. And I don't blame the guy for everything he's done for our organization. But you know what? I'm happy that not only that he's a local guy playing for my favorite team. I'll blow bias to that, but I love the fact that he'll almost become the captain there of that backside of that defense, and I think he's got the leadership qualities to make that happen.
What's your thoughts on this?
He's a very good cover guy. He was. They put him out on an island a lot. I mean, he's a good cover guy. Like, he's athletic, tall. I think, maybe he wanted to stay in Florida. Maybe he wanted to stay close to home. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I bet that's what Juwan probably struggled with, having the whole family at all the games. Now, I mean, he could pay for all of us to go to the games now, right? But the interesting sidebar there is C.J. Gardner. Where's Chauncey? Where's he going to end up? And I'm sure you're going to touch on that in a minute.
Yeah, we are.
But I think it's a great signing. And, I think he's in a good, comfortable position where, like you said, he's going to be the leader. And I think they basically sold that to him, probably saying, look, you're our guy. So I think it's a good move for him. I'm super excited for both of them. I mean, that's a lot of money for a kid.
The Bucks owe Jamal Dean a big debt of gratitude. Listen, first of all, and here's the thing that nobody's talking about. Dean signed for less than what they signed Carlton Davis for last year.
Yes.
Okay? And that's unbelievable in today's market that you would take less than a guy that you play just as well as, that you're expected to lead a defense just as well as. For Dean to take less than Carlton Davis, the Bucks owe Jamel Dean a big debt of gratitude here.
Considering when this league year started, what our cap situation was looking like, we were scratching our heads thinking, "Oh, please God, let a miracle happen."
So your prayers were answered, Caleb? Is that what you're saying? A little bit.
Yeah,
I thought Jamel Dean was their biggest free agent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good player.
Yeah.
Very good player.
I really did.
Thankfully, we finally released 2020 hero Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, it was time for Leonard to go.
You know what?
Let's get to Chauncey Gardner Johnson, because the safety market is definitely interesting as it pertains to Chauncey. I really thought this would be a deal that was done by now somewhere. Hey, look, he played well. He co-led the NFL last year with 6 interceptions. He missed some time with a lacerated kidney because of the way he hits.
I'll tell you, there are many players from Cincinnati who've made it pretty clear. Hey, Chauncey, it's good down here, bruh. They've gone public on Twitter. There's been a big. Yeah. Come on, Chauncey.
I think Chauncey's going to have to settle for a 1-year deal to go back to Philadelphia.
At this point, because it's gone on so long.
Yeah, I just think that's going to end up being his best bet.
1 year incentive laid all the what.
Especially after what happened this week with the other Eagles DB,
Darius Slay.
Right, releasing him.
Went public on Twitter, and then
they turn around and bring him back. I mean, that was just a weird thing there. But It's going to be interesting. I'm curious as to why nobody has stepped up to really throw a bank bag at Chauncey. My question is why.
I've known Chauncey since he was 11 or 12. I mean, there's never been a lack of confidence. There's never
definitely not that.
Not quiet. I mean, the guy got in Tom Brady's face.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm sure that his personality might have something to do with it. I mean, I like it. I like his moxie, and I like
it too.
Yeah, I think the guy's confident enough that he would say, I'm going to bet on myself for 1 year. I think he would, honestly, because he's on a winning team. I mean, they were close, right? I mean, they're young, too. I think that team – now they've got some transitions. You know how when you play in the Super Bowl, your team gets pillaged. We know that, right? All the values go up on those Super Bowl teams for the players. But I think Chauncey has that personality where he's like, you know what? I'll play for 1 year. I'll show you guys, and I'll get even more money. So I think that's a great observation, Alan, and I think he might be right on there.
I think, look, he became the first Eagle with an interception in 5 consecutive games since 1970. And the Eagles have had some pretty damn good cornerbacks and safeties in their time. I just think this bears watching. I thought the one thing that I was really impressed with during the Super Bowl was how Chauncey discussed what he had learned when he had got to Philadelphia. And it was, you have to go back and watch it, but it was a lot of self-reflection in what Chauncey was conveying to the media about what he had learned in Philadelphia, about, that confidence and how to project that confidence, amongst your teammates and amongst the members of the media. And so this is definitely interesting to watch.
He grew up a little bit. We can call
Exactly.
it that, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Maturity. Yeah.
CBS's Sports Jeff Kerr has Chauncey ranked number 2 in the best available free agents.
Who does he have ahead of him?
Lamar.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, although Lamar is not truly a free agent because the Ravens can match it.
He has Lamar 1, Chauncey 2, Jadeveon Clowney 3.
I wouldn't spend a nickel.
I
on
wouldn't
him.
spend a
No.
nickel on Clowney. Remember when we saw Clowney in his final
I
game?
have the best
with South
photo
Carolina?
ever. I don't know if I still have it. He actually, for whatever reason, he was looking at someone else and waving his water ball and smiling. And I took a picture at the same time, and it looks like he's waving to me. It's classic. But that guy, I mean, what an athlete. That hit.
He
He made a lot of money off one hit in college.
He did.
Right?
Yes, I would say that hit against Michigan.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get to Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson, because this is going to be a conversation that we need to have, your biggest, aside from Jamel Dean, what do you like? What's the biggest free agent signing you like, and what don't you like?
The biggest free agent signing I like is Derek Carr to the Saints.
Why do you like Derek Carr to the Saints?
Because I felt he did dirty in Las Vegas with the turmoil, and I feel like he's going to get into a better situation. He's going to have a guy in Michael Thomas who he can actually throw to and might actually stay on the field. And overall, just the Saints are going to be fun to watch.
3,522 yards, 61% completion percentage, 24 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Why didn't this guy get any love, Matt?
From the Raiders or
From
just in
anybody.
general? Well, I don't know. It's weird because I like the guy. I think he's very, he's accountable when they lose. I mean, he's been a great teammate. I think Las Vegas has just been a mess, that whole organization with Mayock and the John Gruden. I think it was good, a fresh start for him. Like, remember when they moved there, he's like, we're all in. Remember he high-fived all the fans in Oakland. And
He immediately
was a
becomes the
franchise
best
guy.
quarterback in
Right.
that division, does he not?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guarantee you he's going to have a chip on his shoulder.
Yes.
I mean, he's going to come out and perform. Now, I don't know about around him. We'll see coaching and things. But Vegas, I think that's a great move for him. That organization's just been a mess, in my opinion. I don't think they've ever – they trade Waller. That's a bizarre – I'm sure you'll touch on that. But I like Derek Carr a lot. I think he's a great teammate. I think he's a great competitor, and I think he'll do really well there. That's probably my number one. Do you have more, Caleb?
What deal don't you like?
Deal I don't like the Bucks picking up Baker Mayfield. I do not like that.
You don't
at
really
all.
need an explanation there, bro.
Okay, but
He's going to be one of those guys every year gets that 1 year deal for $8 to $10 million. Just keeps holding the clipboard, making money.
Look, and they have said he's going to be given the opportunity to compete for the starting job. But here's my thing: I feel we get the same production out of him as we would Kyle Trask. So I know it's only $4 million guaranteed, 8.5 possible with incentives. But why not put that money somewhere else? We have so many needs. Why is it we need to bring in Baker Mayfield, who I honestly believe is a cancer to a locker room?
He does great commercials, though. He really does. Remember how they had to drop all that?
What deal do you like the most again, Matt?
What I like, I do like, obviously, Derek Carr. A sleeper deal for me, honestly, Jimmy G. I don't think that's too undervalued. If he stays healthy. The other one was White, the quarterback from the Jets, going to Miami. I think he's going to see the field.
Mike White is going to see the field. The Ryan Schneider, the Go Tiger head football coach, loves Mike White. Why? Because when Roger Harriott and Ryan Schneider were the head football coaches at the university school, the Sharks.
The Sharks. Nice.
And they won a state championship.
Yep.
Mike White was the quarterback.
He's got weapons. Remember that.
Yeah.
A lot of them, right?
You talked to Ryan Schneider on a Sunday during the NFL season when the Jets were playing. What are you doing? I'm watching Mike White. Text me later.
Good for him.
Right.
Yeah.
Coach, I need an answer.
Yeah, we know Tua. We don't think Tua's going to make it, right, through the season.
Well, what we don't think is Tua's going to play 17 games.
Nope.
So I think you're right. I think that's a good quiet signing that's going to pay dividends and I like the acquisition of the tight end that Miami got as well. I thought that was a good deal too. What don't you like?
One more, I like coaching Flores to the Vikings defensive coordinator. I think that's a great move for the Vikings. But don't like, are you going to throw me the bone? Am I going to do the obvious one, Daniel Jones?
No, go ahead. Because my rant's coming with Lamar and Aaron. So
Right.
I'll let you guys have this for him.
Yeah, Daniel Jones, I don't know how that guy, his agent should get a raise. $160 million for 4 years. I mean,
He'll be worth that money as long as Brian Daboll is the head coach for the New York Giants.
yeah, you
Yes.
should give him 10%, right?
Well, I would think. As long as Daboll is.
Because remember, Dayball was with Josh Allen when he had his monster season,
A great coach.
and so Dayball. Can we call Dayball a quarterback whisperer?
Not yet.
No,
We'll
not
get
yet.
there.
Since 2019, Baker Mayfield and Daniel Jones. Here's a little
Side by
tidbit.
side.
Side by side. Ready? Mayfield passer rating at 84.5, Jones 86.5. Passing and rushing yards. Mayfield 13,092, Jones 13,311. Passing and rushing touchdowns. Daniel Jones 72, Baker Mayfield 81. Turnovers, Daniel Jones 57, Baker Mayfield 61. Win-loss record, Baker Mayfield 25 and 31. Daniel Jones 21, 31 and 1.
Wow.
No
That
wonder
one hurt.
Lamar's
That one
pissed,
hurt.
right?
Yeah, I'm sure that Daniel Jones, I'm sure a lot of agents are using that, and they will forever. It's like, listen, they paid Daniel Jones $40 million a year. My guy's better, right? I mean, that's how they do it. So yeah, there hasn't been a ton of deals that you can sit there and say it was terrible, but that one, man, it jumps right out you like a freight train.
The deal I don't like is Saquon Barkley on the franchise tag at $10 million a year. I don't like it. I think we just saw the entire process of how quickly fantasy type running backs can fall from grace and Ezekiel Elliott.
Boom.
Gone.
Yep.
There is a reason why running backs' careers last on an average 4 years in the National Football League. They put him on a 1-year franchise, and it's not really going to hurt him. I just don't like the message it sends if you're the New York Giants.
You're saying he should have signed him a longer deal? Or?
No, I'm saying that I don't think you should spend that kind of money on running backs in the NFL anymore.
Right.
No.
I don't think you have to. Now you've committed $40 million a year to Daniel Jones.
Man.
You've got $50 million tied up in your quarterback and your running back. Now, granted, they're two of the most important players, but you're on to something here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now where's the rest of your money coming from? What you gonna, this is going to lead to some issues for sure. But we'll see because he plays 1 year on the franchise tag, and if he plays well, then the Giants can actually tag him again. So he can play 2 years under the franchise tag before he becomes a true free agent. So I don't really like Josh Jacobs and Tony Pollard were also put on franchise tags as running backs. But I don't like either of those deals either.
I agree with you wholeheartedly on the running back thing. I think there's so many great athletes out there, and you get a good offensive line. I mean, we joked about it earlier, but Ezekiel literally just ate his way out of the league. I mean, he got that big deal. And Jerry Jones, he loves to overpay, and I mean, he was a very good running back. But again, I think he had a great offensive line. I mean, look what Pollard did, as an undersized back. I mean, he's just more of a threat, right?
I like what the Seahawks did with Geno Smith. And I'm going to tell you why I like what the Seahawks did with Geno Smith. Because 3 years is $75 million. It's $25 million a year.
It's cheap.
That's cheap.
For a starter, a proven starter.
A proven starter
A veteran,
now, right?
been around the league a long time.
So now if you're the Seattle Seahawks, right, where do they pick? Where do the Seahawks pick?
Give me 1 second.
No, I got it. I'll pull it up. So here's what you do if you're the Seattle Seahawks, right? You go out and you draft a quarterback of the future, okay? All right, so the Seahawks pick 5th from Denver. They've got Denver's pick.
Yeah, Russell Wilson.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have an opportunity to go get the Panthers are going to take a quarterback.
Yep.
Let's assume that it's the Alabama quarterback. The Texans, what do?
Who knows? That franchise is so dysfunctional.
Cardinals aren't taking a quarterback. If you're Seattle, do you try and trade your 5th pick and your 20th pick to move up to the Texans at 2 to get C.J. Stroud out of Ohio State?
Boy, that's a tough one.
I don't think he'll
Because you got Geno Smith sitting there. You bring a Stroud in, right? You let him sit for a year because you can now under these rookie contracts with these quarterbacks. They should. A lot of them should be sitting for a year.
Yeah, he can play.
What do you do if you're Pete Carroll?
I don't like giving away 2 draft picks for one. I don't. I think they've got some holes to fill. I mean, look at the Patriots. They lived off of that, right? More picks. So I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, I think quarterbacks out of college are really a coin flip, Alan. I'll be honest with you.
I don't disagree.
Well, I like your thinking though, Alan, but my little car wrench into that is I think C.J. Stroud's going to Carolina. If I was Carolina, that's why.
Okay, well then Bryce Young. I'll take Bryce Young. I'll take the quarterback from Alabama. I don't have a problem with that. I'll take him. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. I think anything after that, then I think we get into I think Will Levis is a fluke.
There's a drop.
Yeah, there's a significant drop.
I think we've all agreed.
Anthony Richardson.
We don't see
Herndon Hooker, Tanner McKee, Stetson Bennett.
What do you-
It's all a drop.
What are your thoughts on Anthony Richardson, honestly?
I think Anthony Richardson won the underwear Olympics, and that's it.
I was at the Georgia game. It was not pretty.
That's it.
I was saying I'm a Florida fan. I've been watching him.
I think when Herndon Hooker is well, I think he will be a better NFL quarterback than Anthony Richards will.
I think he's just like his name, not his namesake, but his number's sake, right? Tim Tebow, and a great college quarterback, athletic. I don't know. I really don't. By the way, your Florida Atlantic Owls, your new favorite team,
right?
They're up 27-16.
Okay.
About 6 minutes to go in the half.
Let's go FAU. FAU.
Creighton is up 12 now over Baylor. About 10 minutes left.
Archaic Designs. I want to thank Archaic Designs and Russ and Christy. All right, let's get into this Aaron Rodgers thing. All right, so Aaron Rodgers comes out on the Pat McAfee show. This idiot is 90% sure he wants to retire before he goes into darkness retreat, whatever in the hell that thing is. Goes into a darkness retreat, eats mushrooms or whatever you do in those things, right? Comes out 4 days later. By the way, it's 4 nights and 5 days you're in this thing. Comes out and he finds out, he says on the Pat McAfee show, that the Green Bay Packers don't want him. And he's shocked by this. That's the first revelation I couldn't believe. Okay? He's shocked that the Green Bay Packers no longer want to put up with what he puts them through the last 3 years, right? He can't believe it. I can't believe they actually want to move off of the great Aaron Rodgers.
That was not the talks we had before it went into the darkness.
Right. Well, apparently the Green Bay Packers took a trip into the darkness as well. And when they came out, they realized it's Jordan Love time. I got no issue.
They got to do it.
But here's the thing. Who's got the leverage in this Jets-Packers thing? Because it don't feel like it's the Jets, buddy.
I think it's a three-way fight between all of them. It's Aaron Rodgers, the Packers, and the Jets. It's like who's going to jump first.
I don't think Aaron has any leverage here.
No, he really doesn't.
Because
too much money.
No matter what, the Packers are going to end up having to pay Aaron Rodgers big money, whether it's this season or over the next 2 seasons.
Aaron Rodgers is not going to be a Green Bay Packer.
I agree.
He is not going to play. And they will wait until June 1st to cut him.
Yeah.
So they'll eat some of that contract money, but he is not going to be. So it's going to be interesting to see. And right now, the Packers have the leverage because they're telling the Jets, we want first-round draft picks for this guy. You know what? For 2 years, we let this guy walk all over us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For 2 years, this guy walked all over us. You know what? Not anymore.
He's going to get a karma sandwich, too, in New York.
When they heard the other day that he was 90% sure that he was going to retire, Packers said, wait a minute. Then retire.
Right.
Then get the hell out.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're 90, you retire, we win.
Right.
Right.
He lost his leverage by saying that.
Right. You're exactly. That's why he has no leverage.
And okay, so here's the number. Say they trade him after June 1st. it would be a $15.8 million cap hit for 2023, and it would be a $24.4 million in 2024 if they trade him after.
Right. That's why they're saying that it's been delayed. That's part of it. But I'm just over it. I'm over this guy. I mean, the other thing, he's 39 years old.
I like what the Packers are doing here. And partly that's because, you know what, as a guy that covers sports, I'm approaching this the wrong way. And what I mean by that is I loathe Aaron Rodgers. I loathe his personality. I shouldn't be that way. You have to leave emotions out of this when you do this, right? But I can't when it comes to Aaron. I can't do it.
Since draft night, Alan. Remember him just whining.
I can't do it. And I understood why he felt the way he did coming out of college. I understood that. You know, the San Francisco 49ers passed him over.
Yeah, hometown team.
Hometown kid, right? I get that whole chip on your shoulder thing. I get him even being pissed off that he had to sit behind another quarterback I loathe with the same identical personality from a different part of the country.
And now they're both going to the Jets.
The most indecisive man in the history of the National Football League in Brett Favre, right? So I get why he felt that way. But you would think that having had these things happen to him, that this would be a different approach, but it's not.
No.
It is all about Aaron Rodgers. It has been confirmed by he is not a good teammate. I don't care what he gets on the McAfee show and says.
Horrible
teammate.
He ran Adams off for more money. I mean, that was just stupid. I you know, I'm a Vikings fan, so I hate him even more than you do. But
yeah.
I mean, I really think like he played poker one too many times. Like his bluff finally got called.
It did, and he screwed up as smart as he thinks he is by saying I was 90% retired before I went into that retreat. He screwed up.
Yep,
screwed up, and finally he spoke. And for him to come on the Pat McAfee show and say, "Look, I'm not coming on your show to use this as a platform to make my announcement. However, I intend to play for the new. What are you doing there?
This isn't decision day,
right?
Well, really?
Well, then what did you just do?
Well, how soon we forget about his whole COVID thing with the vaccine? Remember all that drama? I mean, the guy's always been something.
All of that said, he's a great quarterback.
Yeah, you know what I like about him though? He still has the old school chin strap.
Yeah. I do. He's a great quarterback. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. You know what, though? I got news for you. When it comes to the playoffs, he's not very good.
No. In fact, I had his record last week. It wasn't good. I don't remember what it is now. But, you know, the funny thing is, too, we talk about Favre, right? So Favre, wouldn't he learn from Favre? I mean, he ruined his legacy, right? I mean, somewhat with the Packers. I mean, he's been so much nonsense off the field now. But if I'm him, I'm like, all right, he made $66 million last year with endorsements, right?
Right.
So what's my there's no rationale. He's delusional, right? I don't know why he just didn't say, you know what, I can be the greatest ever here in Green Bay and just, you know, but again, he overplayed his hand.
He did.
Right?
12-10 is his playoff record.
Yeah.
12-10.
12-10.
How many times were they
and in big games
15-1 and lost?
He hosted Tom Brady 2 years ago.
Yes.
Couldn't beat him.
Nope.
Couldn't score a point in the second half.
Look, the argument can be made. The Packers should have had more than one ring with Rodgers. I mean, they should be sitting on two to four of them.
Look at his regular season record versus the playoffs. I mean, they were 14-2, 15-1.
The thing that was the most self-promoting, egotistical, ridiculous thing he said is, I don't know, I guess because I didn't win an MVP this year.
Wow, he has 4 of them, doesn't he?
2 in a row, I know of. But.
I think he should have stayed with Danica Patrick. I think that's when things started going south for him.
Well. Here's the thing. He and on the Pat McAfee show, he tried. You know, he went through and thanked everybody from Danny in the cafeteria, and then he followed up with that statement. Well, I guess I didn't win an MVP, and you and I were sitting in the car saying that's the expectation. That's why we pay you the big dollars.
Well, he's about as sincere as a train wreck, too. I mean,
you're right.
He tries to be nice, he just can't do it.
No.
I mean, his personality.
Speaking of somebody that just can't shut his mouth, is Lamar Jackson.
I thought that was coming to me for a second.
We made it like 12 minutes before, or not, hour and 12.
On the screen right now this week, Adam Schefter, who is the biggest joke of an NFL reporter that there is, by the way. This week, it leaked out that the Ravens offered Lamar Jackson. Now, let me explain this offer, because everyone seems to think that this offer is $133 million for 3 years. No, it's a little more than that, okay? This deal that Lamar Jackson was offered was $133 for 3 years. If he stayed healthy, $175 million. If he was on the Ravens roster 3 days after the league year started in 2026, then he could cash a check for a $200 million. So he would get an additional $67 million. So the deal, as long as Lamar could be healthy and as long as he was on the Ravens roster 3 years from today, right, he would make $200 million guaranteed. On the screen is a tweet from Lamar that says, 133, 3 years, fully guaranteed, but I need an agent.
Yes.
Here's my question. What does that tweet mean? What does it mean? 133 million at 3 years, fully guaranteed, but I need an agent. To me, that says that's a good deal. What do I need an agent for, right?
Right.
So then why doesn't Lamar take a deal like that? Well, it has also come out this week, a little later in the week, Thursday bleeding into Friday, that the National Football League Players Association is guiding Lamar Jackson. And Eric DaCosta has as much said that he has flown down, he has met with Lamar in Miami, he has left those meetings feeling confident that Lamar is comfortable with where he and the Ravens are in negotiations, only to find out the next day that it's a completely different Lamar Jackson after he talks to the Players Association. I'm curious, because I'm going to tell you what I think about this, obviously wearing the purple tonight. But I'm curious as to what somebody who's not a Ravens fan, who is watching this all take place, because there's no market for him right now. Now, if you're the New York Jets, and here's how we can tie this into Aaron Rodgers a little bit, right? If you're the New York Jets, I would say to the Packers, well, you know what? Psst, forget you.
We like the guy in purple.
I'm going to go ahead and offer Lamar Jackson. You guys work
Right.
your issues out.
Right.
You know
Okay.
you'd rather have him over Aaron Rodgers.
But here's the thing. The people that run the New York Jets, do you know where they got their start? In the Ravens front office. So what do they know about Lamar Jackson as to why they spent time? They
Yeah.
know Lamar.
Yeah.
They know Lamar. So why haven't the Jets made an offer to Lamar Jackson yet? Why is he second fiddle behind a 39-year-old quarterback that's not even sure he wants to play the freaking game? Why? So I'm curious as to what your take is on this.
Go ahead, Caleb.
Do they not think he couldn't handle the New York media?
It don't have anything to do with the media.
Okay.
No.
Well, then.
I think it has everything to do with the fact. What do you say?
My opinion's a little bit of a stretch, but one angle I'm looking at it, just thinking out loud, is that, you know, if I'm like an owner of an NFL team and I want to invest a bunch of money, I always get nervous with a running quarterback, honestly. I mean, he's stayed primarily pretty healthy in his career. You would agree?
Who?
Lamar.
No, I would not agree, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm always wrong about Lamar Jackson.
Go ahead.
That's 2 weeks in a row. Right? So, but I can tell you this. I just think that they've hooked their horse to Aaron Rodgers. I think they're so focused on that, like they're all in on him, and they're really not thinking about anyone else.
Yeah, but couldn't you use Lamar
Yes.
as leverage?
Yeah.
But why aren't they?
You think he's a wild card because he doesn't have an agent? Like they feel like they can't?
Well, I think that has something to do with it. But I think here's what I think. I think a lot of these general managers, you know, I keep seeing people out there going, "This guy deserves his money. He deserves his." You don't pay players, and I'm sorry, you don't pay players based on what they did in 2019.
Nope.
Nope.
You don't pay players for that.
What have you done for me lately?
It's
Exactly.
what have you done for me lately, right?
Ron Taylor, perfect example.
Jawan Taylor is a perfect example. His first 4 years, up and down, up and down. Last year, his best year. He's ascending. Lamar Jackson's descending. He hasn't played. He didn't play the last 6 games last year. He's missed 11 of the 11 games to end the season the last 2 years, the 2 most critical points and time of a season. And if you're going to tell me that this year he missed the playoff game or the final regular season game because of the contract, I have an issue with that as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought you would.
Not
Wouldn't you as an NFL general manager?
Oh, absolutely.
Not even traveling with the team. He didn't
Not
even.
to mention, I don't mean to cut you off, but there are highlights on the screen right now. The Ravens blew 5 fourth-quarter leads this year of double digits. 4 of them, Lamar was the quarterback, and you're seeing them on the screen, some of the decisions he made in those games that cost the Ravens. General managers see this. Go ahead. Yeah. I'm sorry, Caleb.
No, I was saying, that for me, like, that's a big thing for me. You didn't even travel to the – it's not even he wasn't in the playoff game. He didn't travel with the team to their playoff game and to go support, the 2 guys that are under him.
You're looking at a play right now on your screen of it's a very complicated situation.
The psychology.
It is an extremely complicated situation, but it's not – this situation is not going to get any better if he doesn't – he can't have mom.
No.
As the mouthpiece here.
Well, he just
and
said,
his mom's not even the mouthpiece because this tweet that I showed, that is what an agent would do. That's what an agent would do. An agent would go to the media and say, that's not what happened. Here's what happened. Lamar looks silly here. Yeah. He looks silly. And an agent would tell you, what did Abraham Lincoln once say? A man that represents himself as a fool for a client. Okay?
That was deep. I like that.
Well, it's the truth.
I know.
Okay? So if you are negotiating if you're trying to get $250 million, mom's not negotiating my deal. Mom, I love you. May you rest in peace. But I would never trust my mother, not because I don't trust her, but because what does mom know?
She's biased, number one.
Right.
She thinks he's Superman.
First time somebody says, well, Lamar missed 6 games last year. He missed 5 games the year before. His numbers are declining. He's nowhere close to the MVP numbers he was in 2019.
Mama Bear's coming out.
Right.
Yeah.
Mom's coming to the forefront. That's my baby.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Well,
right?
and it goes back to what we were talking about kind of last week. You start taking things – now you have 2 parties taking things personal rather than a buffer to keep things professional.
Emotion. Exactly.
I don't know what's going to happen here. I think ultimately, in the end, Lamar Jackson plays for the Baltimore Ravens, partly because I don't think he's going to have a choice.
Nobody really wants him, obviously.
Well, and here's the thing. I keep hearing the Colts are going to make an offer. Look, everybody thought it was going to be Daniel Snyder and the Washington Commanders, right? But they went out and got who did they get? They went out and signed a quarterback. The Falcons brought in the Commanders quarterback in Tyler Heineke. So these teams are spending money on the quarterback position, and although it's not Lamar Jackson type money, they seem to be okay with what they're doing.
The annual quarterback shuffle, right?
Right.
They're all over.
They picked up Jacoby Brissett.
There you go. But you're still spending money.
Yeah.
That's money if you intended to sign Lamar.
$10 million.
You would put towards him, right?
Yeah. I mean, here's the Commanders' quarterback room, since we're talking about him here a little bit. Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett, Jake Fromm.
Tell me how the Washington Commanders don't need Lamar Jackson.
Jake Fromm still in the league.
Yeah. Hey.
He's one of those, we call him the clipboard millionaires, right?
Hey, you know what? I commend him. You stand on the sideline, hold a clipboard.
Never get hit.
If I'm Lamar, they say, Matt, you and I have been involved in sales our entire life. They say, he who talks first, what?
Loses.
Every time. And he can't shut up.
I can't believe the agent comment. That's bizarre.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah, that's a guy that has no representation. Obviously,
No.
nobody says something like that. I
No,
think
no,
you're
no.
right.
I said that.
No, I mean I'm saying what he said in the quote
In the tweet
about needing an agent. Or
yeah,
whatever. I mean,
it's just weird to me because
bizarre.
It projects he likes the deal. I don't know, man. It's people have asked me, well, Alan, what do you want to see? Well, I want to see Lamar Jackson back as the Ravens quarterback at a reasonable price. I don't want Lamar Jackson to sign and we can't protect him and he doesn't have anybody to throw the ball to, right?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, because of the money, right?
Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Look, I know it's not 2010 anymore, and and I get the way this game is going, and I understand that you have to pay, but I'm not paying for something that happened 3 years ago. I don't blame Eric DeCosta and the Baltimore Ravens. I don't. A guy like a Jawan Taylor so wholeheartedly deserves his money.
He's young too.
Well,
yeah.
So is Lamar, but
Yeah.
but what he did this year, what Jawan Taylor did this year, he ascended. Right?
Yes.
Lamar Jackson descended. And when you're talking about the quarterback position, the last thing you want to do is throw $200 million at a quarterback that has descended over the past 2 years. You just don't do it.
Nope.
In that situation, Alan, don't you at least try to make a go of it? Try to throw on a knee brace. I know he's a running quarterback.
No,
I don't know how bad is
let me
injury?
say this.
I'm uneducated on the injury.
No,
part,
let me
so,
say this.
yeah,
I don't fault Lamar
for not playing.
I don't.
All right.
I don't. I honestly don't.
That's not really the issue we're talking
Well,
about.
but
Yeah,
still, I
bit.
don't. But again, you know what? If I'm guaranteeing you $250 million, your ass better guarantee me you're playing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, a running quarterback's just more susceptible to getting hit, to getting hurt.
And he's not all that accurate of a passer. I get it. But a lot of the passes he throws, the Ravens are a tight end eccentric offense with passes across the middle. So a lot of his completion percentage is deceptive in the fact that the passes aren't all that long. But you see on your screen the highlights of Lamar throwing the football, and he can't have the broad side of a barn.
Wait a minute. Last week I said he couldn't throw, and you blasted me.
No,
Okay.
no, there's a difference. You said he wasn't a very good passer, and I said, well, that's a misconception because he can throw the football. He's just not very accurate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, me not unpeeling the onion enough there. I just a general comment, but yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss on this one because it just seems like it's spinning around. And
It ain't going to get resolved anytime soon. And look, the Ravens are in the catbird seat here because if somebody offers the money, the Ravens are going to go, nah, you can go. See you.
Like the more he talks, the better they are. The better they are. Right?
Because what general manager wants that issue?
Yeah.
Nobody wants that in their locker
You
room.
don't hear
They
Ozzie. You don't hear the Ravens talking. They're silent, right?
Well,
well,
there's a reason they are the fifth best franchise in the league since 2000 and 2 Super Bowls and 14 playoff appearances. It's because their front office has remained consistent. Ownership remains consistent, and they are
Coaching.
known for paying the big contracts.
Yeah,
Yep.
You're right. You're right.
So, what? Go ahead.
He was saying the Ravens don't talk, and I was like, well, there was that press conference at the Combine where
Well, they were pressed into that. Every general manager gave a press
yeah,
conference.
well, yes, but what was said, like throwing shade at the wide receiver room.
He didn't throw shade at the and I know a lot of people perceive it that way. Eric DeCosta didn't throw shade. We're talking about Rashad freaking Bateman here, okay? Self-check, Rashad. Okay, look in the mirror, bud. All right, you had a Liz Frank injury last year, right? You didn't play. It takes a lot of chutzpah to call out the general manager because he's questioning a wide receiving core that's horrific. So Eric DeCosta had every right to throw shade at Rashad Bateman. I mean, it ain't like we're talking about the duo down in Miami here.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. He's not exactly a Hall of Famer.
No.
Yeah.
Rashad Bateman. Come on.
Creighton's up 14 now with just under 5 to go, 78-64. So that's looking pretty good for Creighton.
All right. Who knows what happens? All right. Once again, thanks to Archaic Designs. Guys, we're going to keep the baseball talk for next week since we will have one more week. Next week will be a lot more about baseball. But we are going to get into the World Baseball Classic real quick because what has happened here this week has sparked a lot of controversy that surrounds Edwin Diaz. One Edwin Diaz. Let me see if I got the video here. Yeah, I do. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that video up. And here it is. It's on the screen. And so Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic play. Edwin Diaz, the Mets closer, $100 million guy. Strikes out the last batter. Puerto Rico defeats the Dominican Republic 5-2. Everybody's jumping up and down. Down goes Diaz.
Ooh.
Down goes Diaz. He tears his patella tendon. Has to be helped off the field. Done. Done for the year. The Mets have lost their $100 million closer. Outrage. Outrage in the talk radio world that the World Baseball Classic needs to go away. This is a joke of an exhibition. It should never take place. There you see teammates crying for Edwin Diaz. This thing is ridiculous. It shouldn't happen. What say you, Caleb Brown? What say you?
I don't think it's as ridiculous. Okay, the NBA, right? The NBA during the Olympics sends teams over to go play in Olympic competition. Baseball currently, at least in the next two Olympics, aren't a part of the Olympics. So the World Baseball Classic, I feel, is a great reunion for the sport of baseball, of many countries coming together and seeing some of the pro athletes play with some of their brethren from their fellow country.
So keep it.
Yes.
Keep the World Baseball Classic because it's good for
baseball. Yes. You're going to have freak injuries when you step on a field regardless.
Matt?
I totally disagree.
All right.
I say get rid of it. Caleb, the main reason I have that issue is because of the timing of it too. These guys they're supposed to be in spring training, right? And they're throwing them out into competitive games, and there's just more of a. And the other thing is, these guys take a lot of pride, and I agree with you somewhat on the country thing and that, but I think they take a lot of pride, for their country, right? So it digs a little deeper, right? But I told you this before, I don't agree with it because if someone does get hurt, now you could say, hey, he could get hurt, but I guarantee you, in spring training, they're not going to put him in a high leverage situation, right? They just won't. They know what he can do. He's just getting his arm ready. But this is a huge loss. Like I liked the Mets a lot because of him, and he's gone. And I just don't think I don't think it really brings a lot of value. I don't think there's that much interest. I haven't been interested in it. The timing is actually they can't do it any other time, right? But, during spring training, really, no one really cares about baseball that much during spring training anyway, so the timing is bad. You got the NCAA tournament. I just don't think when you compete for interest, even like the NFL is always the top dog. Free agency, what are we talking about, right? I just don't think the interest is there.
When would you play it?
I wouldn't play it at all, to be honest with you. I don't really I think they tried it. I don't think it ever really, do you think it really got much traction, Alan?
I agree with the both of you. I disagree with you that they shouldn't play it, but I agree with you that the timing is not right. I've heard players being interviewed during this, and much to my surprise, many of them have highlighted moments throughout the World Baseball Classic as some of the greatest in their careers. And last night, it was said that the greatest moment of Trey Turner's career happened when he hit the Grand Slam last night. And here you're looking at highlights of USA and Venezuela. And there is a home run in the bottom of the seventh inning puts Venezuela up 7-5. So there's the insurance home run right there, right? Mm-hmm. If you watch these games, the atmosphere, the electricity, you don't get this at a Major League Baseball game.
Nope.
Excellent point.
Not even close. Yeah. You don't get the way these players come out of the dugouts to salute. Trey Turner's going to hit a grand slam here after this guy gets hit by a pitch to load the bases. And the reaction from the USA dugout is something you don't see in Major League Baseball. You don't. Watch this reaction as he rounds the base. To me, that tells me that this means something to these guys.
Yes.
And I think it would be a tremendous, tremendous mistake for baseball owners to try to take this away from these guys.
You play
But
it
I
after the
agree
season?
with you.
You play it
It's-
after the season, or when do you play it?
I think you play it in November.
Right at the end. Right?
I think you can play in November. Maybe you. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know if there is a right answer to that.
Well, and for me, again, the whole injury comment is, you can get injured doing anything anywhere.
And here's the other point.
But
I'm
it
gonna
did
make.
happen, and it did happen.
That's correct.
Yeah,
You know what?
it's
And
not
that
a could've
comment
and
drives
should've.
me nuts. You can walk out and get hit by a car. Yeah, but I'm not going to.
But he did get hurt.
Because I'm going to look left and right. And if I get hit by a car, I'm my own idiot, right? He's jumping up and down. I get it did happen. You're right. Was it a freak injury? Yeah, but it still happened. Here's the other thing. I think this is a tremendous overreaction as well. Because if the New York Mets can't recover from losing Edwin Diaz, then they were never World Series contenders to begin with.
They'll find an arm. Yeah, but yeah, I agree with you. I think the other thing is, like, we're sitting here in Brevard County. We're not foreign players. We're not from foreign countries. This reminds me a lot of the World Cup. Like, these fans, you're right, they're crazy about. I mean, this is
game
a big
last
deal.
night. Watch the fans in the stands.
Oh, they love it.
You don't. The only time you see a reaction like that is in the seventh game of a World Series from the fans.
Right
now, the United States well on their way to advancing to the World Baseball Classic Finals. They, with 2 in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the third, 2 in the fourth, are beating Cuba 7-2. Goldschmidt with a home run. Trey Turner with another home run in this one. So, yeah, go USA. Pride of country always trumps anything else.
Love it. Yeah.
It's the truth. Whether you believe that or not, these athletes do.
Yes.
And I believe, until it becomes contract time, that athletes truly believe that the name on the front of the jersey is worth more than the name on the back. And I believe that 95% of professional athletes that play the game, again, until it's contract time, believe that. So,
well, and this conversation has picked up more traction with Jose Altuve getting hit by a pitch, and now he has to get fractured thumb surgery.
Good. Don't like him.
He got hit. he got hit in the thumb. The pitch was inside.
Sorry, Yankee fan came out a little bit.
yeah, that's all right. That's all right.
I was kind of hoping to draw some reaction out of him there.
All right. So there we go. There's that. We'll preview the Rays next. Then we'll preview the entire American League next week, and then we'll do the National League the week after. All right, guys, we're going to get set to wrap up here. So, idiots and angels. Who's your idiot?
There's no angel in my outfield today. Okay?
That's okay, bud.
Right.
Who's
my
your idiot?
Sean Kemp.
Why Sean Kemp?
He's been a train wreck for. I mean, I don't know what's the count on kids with him. Do we know? Is it 20? I mean,
I don't know. Explain what you're talking about. For those that don't know.
Well, again, we're back to the guns again. It just seems like there's a gun in the news.
Right.
He's never. I don't know. I just picked him. I'm sure there's other people more deserving of being an idiot, but
who is your idiot and who is your idiot, Caleb?
My idiot is Tony Bennett. Wow. The head coach.
Not the singer, the Vegas singer.
No.
He's still alive, Tony Bennett?
Yeah,
I don't think.
Now I got to look.
Go
ahead, Caleb.
The Virginia head coach.
Okay.
All right. So everyone is by now seen the video of the fifth-year senior getting caught in the corner and making that lob pass that made no sense to anybody. And everyone's like, oh, well, he should have held on for one more second. He would have got the foul called. Well, as a coach, you have one timeout. As a coach, you are above the players. You are supposed to be there to help save your players when they are in trouble, right? When they don't realize they're in trouble and are about to make a dumb decision, the coach can call a timeout. The coach can say, hey, refs, timeout, and it would have saved them time, and it would have saved them that mistake. I understand he's a fifth-year senior. He shouldn't have made that decision. I get that. But as a coach, Alan, how many times have you and I been doing a basketball broadcast, and we've seen Brevard County coaches calling timeouts to save their players from doing something dumb or to prevent that from even being a possibility?
A lot.
So, I mean, tournament time, you should be there for that fifth-year senior calling the timeout. Okay, even if it doesn't get granted, you're at least making the effort. Ref, I want the timeout. Ref, I want the timeout before that happens.
I think, and let me just tell you what he told reporters. He was asked this question, and I was there. He said, I'm not sure why I didn't call timeout. He said, but
That
we
means
should
I
have
messed up.
He said, that's exactly right. He said, but we should have. We should have called a timeout, or we could have gotten a tie up. We had it and it unfolded. I think had he gotten tied up, he would have called timeout in there. And he thought in the end, it's a pain. He says, I've loved coaching him in his career, Bennett saying, of the guy that threw the ball up. We would not be in this spot without him. So he offers no explanation. Essentially, what it boiled down to was coach and player screwed up. And I think that's a good idiot of the week, although I feel bad for your idiot.
Oh, no, I didn't say it.
He says you always look to that last moment, and there's so many what-ifs and who knows. Bennett said of Clark's final act, but in time, that will fade. I don't think so. And what he's done, what he's meant, it's a hard way to end, but there's also a whole lot of good when you look at the whole picture. The whole picture is Virginia has now lost to UMBC. Okay, they did rebound to win the national championship, and now they've lost to Furman. So, and Tony Bennett, you, my friend, have been the coach for all of it. So, who is your angel of the week?
My angel of the week, and this one's going to go personal. It's going to be Furman because look, that was my first NCAA tournament game. Mm-hmm. And partially you're also included in this angel of the week because you made this happen.
Well, no problem.
Wait a minute, Alan's an angel now? Wait
No,
a minute.
No, I didn't say that. I just said for this moment he had an angelic moment. But the angel of the week goes to Furman for making
Caleb using angelic. Go ahead, Bob.
Hey, look, there's a couple good things that come out of this sack of rocks. But it was my first tournament game, and to me, I'm always going to remember that game. I'm always going to remember sitting high above the Amway, which was a great seat, by the way. Fantastic seat, high above Amway, watching all of that.
Well, my idiot of the week is the LPGA, or the PGA Tour last week. If you don't know, while we were doing this show, and we mentioned it during the show, that we should probably not be showing PGA highlights. Now,
Oops.
When we pay, for pictures and highlights and things of that nature, so a lot of what you see on here is paid for. But the PGA Tour took down our video for 9 seconds of a swing. Our entire video was gone, so I had to reload the entire video up. Now, it would be one thing, gentlemen, if it were the NFL.
Right.
If it were NCAA basketball, if it were something of that nature, right? It would be, because those are sports that people actually watch these days, right?
Yeah.
Nobody, with the way the PGA Tour is going right now, is
BSN's using your footage. BSN's using your footage.
They got
Are
nothing
you
else to
kidding
worry
me,
about,
man?
like the
Are
Live
you
Tour?
Absolutely kidding me. By the way, there are no perfect brackets left in the country for men's, and I just saw a message come up. One women's bracket is perfect.
Wow.
Yeah,
one person.
So my angel of the week, gentlemen, and I don't even remember what is the guy's name again?
Hold on.
The NASCAR guy?
Yes, the NASCAR guy.
Don't ask me.
Because I love NASCAR.
It's a great story.
See this right here? Look, I absolutely love NASCAR.
Jake Williams.
It's not Jake, is it? I don't think it's Jake.
Jake from State Farm?
Josh.
Josh Williams.
Josh Williams in NASCAR. Yeah, it's Josh Williams. Josh Williams in NASCAR is my angel. I can't stand NASCAR anymore. I can't stand watching it just because of not because of the drivers, okay? Because of what NASCAR has done to the sport. And anytime a driver sticks it to the rules officials, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Oh, this is a great story.
Well, in a race yesterday at Atlanta Motor Speedway, Josh Williams had caused a caution and came in and got repairs. And as he went back out on the track, piece of Bondo or something came off the car, and because he had put debris on the track and extended the caution, NASCAR told him, "You're done. Park the car." And that's what they told him to do. Park the car. Well, Josh Williams did as he was instructed. And as you will see here on your screen, not only did he park the car, but he parked it at the start-finish line and just walked right off the track waving at the NASCAR officials. And I thought it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Yes.
And the video's going to roll here, and we're going to hear from Josh and his mullet. His mullet's the best, too. When you see this guy's mullet, it's amazing. He gets a 10 for the mullet. He gets a 10 for parking the car at the start-finish line. And I just thought this was fantastic. You know what? NASCAR's not going to be real happy with it when they I think they made him wait for 2 hours in the hauler, but they talked to him. But you're going to hear from Josh coming up here after you see exactly where he parked this car. I thought it was great. There you go, right there at the start-finish line. Here is Josh Williams, my angel of the week.
What were you thinking in what you did in getting out of the car like that?
I mean, we all work really hard, right? And to only run X amount of laps and then have something like this fall off. Dude, put us out of races. It's really frustrating. Small team. We work really hard. We got to make our sponsors happy, right? So it doesn't do you any good sitting in the garage, but it is what it is. We'll learn from it and move on.
What was it? Were you gesturing when you got out of the car? It looked like you waved up to the fans or to the box, or
just some of the officials in the flag stand. I mean, we're good friends with everybody, so I waved at them. They waved back, but the fans were kind of supportive about it, and that was kind of cool. So hopefully they got a little bit of enjoyment out of it.
What do you
Good for him.
Yes.
He's my angel of the week. And, if he had come across in that interview like a Bush or like a Logano or like one of these arrogant, whats that have, in a lot of respects, turned people the other way from NASCAR, then maybe he's not. But I just love the way the guy handled the media, handled the questions. I thought he was perfect. So he is my angel of the week. Caleb, your final thoughts? Because you won't be back next week.
No.
Jackson takes over your seat. We put Jackson in the basement next week. So, So, your final thoughts, bud?
What a great week in sports.
Yeah, no, it wasn't bad. It was a lot of fun, and we got a great week coming up as we get back to reality.
Lacrosse, baby, Tuesday night. Vieira, Holy Trinity.
Putting you on the spot, Caleb. Who wins?
Holy Trinity by 3 goals.
Okay.
Wow, that was pretty confident.
Yeah. I think a little locker room fodder there for the team that you cover. But that's okay. That's on you. You're the ones who have to deal with that.
Hey, you know what?
Nation.
Coach Barlett, we can talk. Let's go.
Right.
Oh, wow.
There you go. Okay.
Oh.
All right, Matt. Final thoughts.
By the way, Baylor Bears, thank you for participating in the NCAA tournament. Have a safe ride.
And there's just yet more. What do you call that stuff you put on the fire to start it? What's that called?
Fuel.
Guess.
No, the paper. I can't think of what it is called. But anyway,
Kindling.
Kindling. There's
Okay,
just more.
right.
There's another. There's another kindling bracket for my fire tonight, and it is cold enough. I'm done. I mean, I'm done. And before I get your final thoughts, real quick, let me just once again pull up the bracket standings because, I'm sure they have changed since we sat down to start this show 2 hours ago.
2 of my national champions are still in it for.
Well, I would feel sorry for you if all of my champions, with the exception of Tech, I only turned in 3 brackets. I'm not like, I think Jason said he only did 10.
That's a lot of effort.
Right.
Yeah.
It's too much.
My 2 national champions were Xavier and Alabama.
All right, so right now, the update on the screen. We do. We do have a new person takes over the lead. It is Jake Hitt has now taken over the lead. Katrina Rose is second. Seymour Football third. Jackson Robb is now tied for first. Go Jackson!
Let's go, Jackson!
Go Jackson!
Let's go!
It's because he didn't have to blow a pick on North Carolina, right?
That's right.
Cheap shot. Sorry, Jerry.
That's all right. He'll get you back next week. So we got 4 people that are tied for first place. So we're all obviously cheering for Jackson because, well, we'd like to put the money towards another contest. Right. But, Matt, final thoughts, bud.
I'm going to do a shout-out tonight, all right, to some of my guys out there. Kellum and Anthony Romanelli and Kieran O'Sullivan. So I'm just doing a shout-out to some little sports fans out there.
Okay.
But I'm over Aaron Rodgers, totally over it. I hope that I'm sure you'll see some great games in the Sweet 16. This is where, some better. Yeah, we like to see. I mean, the good thing about the tournament, we still got a lot of time left, right? There's still some more magic moments. I'm excited, as always, for baseball to get started.
Yeah.
So
you're a Yankee fan. Why not? You buy your way to the top every year.
By the way, longest drought in franchise history without a ring.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Was he a Rays fan over here?
No.
No. But who is your favorite baseball team?
A Red Sox.
Oh, really?
Oh, this ought to
Predicted
be
go
fun
finish
this year.
last.
So, but it would be the same thing if I heard a Red Sox fan say, "Oh, we've had such a long drought." Like,
I don't think I'll be putting my Allen Z Orioles jersey on until about the All-Star break. So let's just leave it at that.
I want to say, I'm like, I live with an Orioles fan. I have no sympathy for us or him.
Maybe we can get Landy to sponsor just a Sweet 16 contest.
I can tell you this. I'm excited to watch real baseball again. Right?
ESPN does have a Sweet 16 contest.
Without the shift and everything. I'm really excited.
I am too. I'm pumped up. Pitch clock, the no shift, the larger
school, right?
bases. Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We are. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And so to wrap it up tonight, it was a good week of sports. The NCAA tournament got off and started, and of course, it's always good to get back to broadcasting, and that's what we're going to do here this week on Brevard Sports Network. Again, I want to thank Archaic Design. I want to thank Black Rock Engineering and Technology. And again, don't forget about coming up the trench battles for the big guys. And again, that information is on our Facebook page. I want to thank Jason Landy once again for sponsoring the March Madness Bracket Challenge. So for all of you out there, have a great week. We'll be back next Sunday night, and J. Rob will be back in the chair, or actually making his debut here on Mouth and Off Sports Talk. So for Caleb Brown, for Matt Lawson, I'm Alan Slaughter-Zinski. This has been Mouth and Off Sports Talk right here on Brevard Sports Network. Have a great week of sports, everybody. We'll see you next week.